Hello friends, today we are going to discuss a C program that is about to find the class of an IP address. So let's discuss what is class and what is IP address. So we have each computer which is connected to the network has an identifier to recognize connected computer address that is known as the IP address. Okay, Internet Protocol address. Every computer has a logical address that is IP address. So we have an IP version 4 has an 4 octets having the decimal value between 0 to 255, and depending upon the first octet's value, IP address divided into 5 classes, that is class A, class B, class C, class D and class E. So if you want to justify, class A have the octet series as 1 to 126, and class B have as 128 to 191, as namely class C have 192 to 223, and class D have 224 to 239, and class E have 240 to 254. That is was what all about the theory and the concept, that is all about classes of IP address. So here we have a C program that is about to find class of an IP address. Okay, so first of all, what we have to do is we have some commands in Linux such as ls, which will give you the list of pwd, which will give you the present working directory, and some commands like nano, some commands like touch, it will create new file, and as a compiler we have gcc compiler. So if you want to compile any file, we have gcc file name dot c, and with hyphen o, that is hyphen output file name, which will give you the output file name. Okay, file name f1. Okay, so just we have these commands, and if you want to run our program, that is command dot slash and the output file name. Okay, so here we have these commands, and let us see what is the logic of that program to find an class of an IP address. Okay, so we have program just written over here. So I just open my GNU nano editor, which is shown in your screen, and we have programmed to find the class of an IP address. First of all, here we have added some header files, that is standard input output. Then we have string.h. Then we have a user defined function, that is extract IP address, that is unsigned char pointer source string short pointer IP address. Okay, we have some variables like unsigned short length equals to 0, unsigned char oct equals to 4, and that is an array, and counter variables like cnt, cnt1 and buffer. Let me have to find the length of that string. So length is equals to len is equals to strlen of source string. What we have source string, we can find the length of that source string, and if we have the length, then we can use it in the our for loop. So for I equals to 0 and I want 0 to length, we will calculate the source string dot separator, and buffer counter. Then we have assigned IP address 0 to octet 0, IP address 1 to octet 1, IP address 2 to octet 2, IP address 3 to octet 3. Here we have some assignments like this. Okay, then we have our main function, that is int main, and here we have defined some variables like unsigned char short printf command, which is will give you the output screen, enter IP address in that format, scanf percentile s IP, then extract IP address, IP and IP address 0, printf percentile D, percentile D, percentile D, IP address 0, IP address 1, IP address 2, IP address 3. If IP address 0 is 0 एंड 127 के बीच में अगर होता है हमारा आईपी एड्रेस तो आपका कौन सी क्लास हो जाएगी? क्लास ए। अगर आपका 127 टू 191 होता है तो आपकी क्लास हो जाएगी बी। अगर आपका 191 टू 224 होता है तो आपकी क्लास हो जाएगी सी। अगर आपका 224 टू 239 होता है तो आपकी क्लास हो जाएगी डी। एंड above 239 we will have class E. Okay, then we will return 0 for this main function and we will return from that function. Let's compile this function. So let us close Control X, and to compile this program we have gcc file name .c minus output file name ip class find1, and let's do it. Here we have some warning, implicit declaration atoi function, that is okay. Then we have our running program command, that is dot slash and output file name, that is our output screen, enter IP address. Let us assume our IP address is 192.168.10.1. Suppose if we have this IP address and if I want to know the class of this IP address, then I press enter. Then IP address 192.168.0.001, this is class C IP address. Thank you very much.